Welcome back to CEO Money. I'm Michael Yorba, your host. Thanks for being there. All right, Erin Beck, founder, CEO, Wana Family Network. All right, Erin, welcome to our show. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much. Great to be here.
Great. All right, you are also a winner in the contest that was put on in conjunction with Tudigo and the university, right?
That's correct.
California State University, Dominguez Hills. Tell us about your experience with that. And then let's get into what your company does. I want to hear all about it.
Yeah, no, very similar to Catherine. Many of us are part of many mailing lists. Mine, I believe I got this through the Women Founders Network, which is a very strong network of women founders, particularly in the California area. And said they're looking for some innovative women to tell us about the projects that they're working on, and who can resist that. So they've clearly done a fantastic job with education and outreach. I'm very pleased to have had the opportunity to pitch with these guys.
All right, thank you for saying that. You've got an impressive background yourself. I'm most recently Dragon Mission, director of SpaceX. You designed, tested, and operated spacecraft to ferry cargo. I mean, that's pretty good. Pretty good.
Thanks. No, it was a really fantastic job.
Talked about Wana Family Network. What is it and how does it solve the issues that are out there in the world?
Sure. Well, I very much believe that skills are cumulative and transferable through your life. So I have a long background in theater as a director, and then this background in engineering and engineering management and spacecraft operations. And I thought that would be, and it feels like it still is, a very natural progression into entrepreneurship, which is also a lot of organization and creativity and management. And I am fortunate enough to have had my first child 2 years ago, a bubbly, vibrant daughter, and I came up with, I had a problem right off the bat, which is living in California far from both my husband and my families. We found that it was extremely difficult to get out of our house. So I did borrow off of, and I love that you said your great aunt from way back when would not think this is a new idea. And it's not. What Wana is a babysitting co-op. But the tricky part for babysitting co-ops with us, and these have been around since babies were born, where communities come together as a village to raise their children and share the child-rearing responsibilities. Now we're taught to be so self-sufficient. And there are these pockets of neighborhoods where these families get together and they just trade babysitting with each other. And so no one has to put in any monetary aspect. They trade in points, they trade in tokens and tickets. But what I found was trying to decide who was going to be in this club and trying to decide who would administer all of these point transfers was enough of a barrier to entry that I couldn't make it happen in my community. So that's where Wana was born. I said, there's got to be an app for that. That's what we always say now. I couldn't find one that met my needs, and so here we are.
Tell us how it works.
So it's a networking platform for families. So when you join the site, you create a profile, and you're able to see the profiles of other families in your neighborhood and connected by your school, your work, your interests, your parenting styles. And you can also bring on, and this is a lot of how I'm using it, bringing on friends that you already know, and you say, hey, would you like to swap some babysitting with me? You watch my child for 4 hours, I watch your child for 4 hours, and the internal point systems, use a certain number of points for every hour that you babysit for somebody else, allows us to track the equality of those exchanges. So nobody is necessarily giving or taking more than anyone else in the community.
Is there a model in there where, because right now one of the big pushes that I've been running across with everybody is, look, we will tokenize this so that not only will you do trade with me, but you will profit by the trade. And then sometimes people trade them in for refrigerators, or there's advertising involved in this.
So I love that question, and there's so many answers, and they all end in yes. So right now, where Wana is focused is just on the babysitting exchange. It's so important to us that there's not a cash out value for the points. We want people to come onto the site who need babysitting,
right,
and not anything else. But that, because it's a strong community of families in that way. But for the long term, there are so many ways for that to grow. For example, our children grow. So what's the natural progression from babysitting? Carpooling, tutoring. I would love to see the point transfer expand into that realm. There are many sites that once they do child care, there's also pet care, home care, elderly care. There's expansion into those verticals. And how great would it be if I babysat for your child for 4 hours, and then somebody helped me haul my couch up the stairs to my apartment. And I can't tell you how many times I've sat out on my corner waiting for somebody who could maybe lend a helping hand getting the heavy furniture up the stairs. And wouldn't it be so great if I had a meter of social capital that said, hey, you know what, she's a nice person, and she's been helping as much as she can. Maybe she could use a hand today. So I absolutely see that this bartering system is expandable to all aspects of our lives where we come together and help each other out.
Now, you also have a podcast, and I'm going to throw one thing on there. It seems to me that the natural progression there is storytelling from the group.
Yes, absolutely. And so much of this for me came out of stories that I had witnessed. My husband and I took a year and a half and traveled abroad together over 5 continents, and really had the opportunity in some of these places to see how people in communities rely on each other. And it was seeing their stories that said, I want to see these kinds of stories in my hometown. So the podcast we're running right now, it's called Millennial Fam. It's this idea that there are these families out there looking for everything. They want a happy marriage, healthy kids, adventure in their life, lots of travel. And there's this expectation now. How is it okay to ask for that, and can you get it? And we at Wana believe very strongly that the answer is yes, if you're willing to accept balance and happiness as the currency for having everything. And so what we do in this podcast now is we bring on one family every episode that is telling us how they're achieving that balance and everything in their lives, the tools. And this will be the first of podcasts hosted by Wana. And as we go forward, we'll expand that to really get into the stories of people who are using the platform with each other.
That is amazing. I can see all over the place. All right. Have you launched this yet? I mean, I saw your website, but I wanted to figure out, have you launched it yet?
Yes. We soft launched at the very end of January of this year, so we've only been open about 6 weeks. And when you go to the main website, you'll submit your email address for an invite to that soft launch test site. The soft launch test site is open nationwide. We've got about 60 families on there right now, and we're growing by a family or two every day just through word of mouth as people are bringing in their friends. And that's where we're inviting people in right now. So come into the primary site, join onto the test site, bring a friend with you. And reach out to someone in your community that you don't know yet, and set up a play date. Meet somebody. We're in a community building phase right now, which is not necessarily intuitive. You're like, oh, I'm going to book my sit right now. But it is a process, just like getting to know a nanny or the high school kid down the street. You set up a play date, have a coffee date, visit their home, have them visit your home. Say, wow, this is a great long-term relationship where our kids will grow up together. We'll have, we can ask for eggs from each other and
Erin,
sugar when the kid goes, yes.
We've got to go, but thank you so much for being a guest on the show.
It's fantastic. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Erin Beck, founder, CEO, Wana Family Network. Excuse me. On the other side of this break, we're going to come back with Erin Thompson, founder and director, S Word Project.